From engineer to baker, her delicious feteer journey. Welcome back to the Passionate Palate, a podcast for food lovers and culinary explorers where we talk about various foods, flavors, and ingredients from around the world. I'm your host, Zain. Today's episode is extra special. We're talking Egyptian feteer, one of the most comforting, flaky, buttery, and delicious pastries. And with me, someone who not only makes it, but has turned it into a growing small business built on passion, cultural pride, and a whole lot of dough, literally. Please welcome Sarah Elkholy. Assalamu alaikum, Sarah. Welcome to my show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm so excited to have you and to talk about your delicious feteer. So for our listeners who are not familiar with feteer, can you please enlighten us, tell us what it's about?
So feteer is pretty much layered pastry that is common in so many cultures. After I started this business, I've realized it's in India, it's in Pakistan, it's in Morocco, it's in Tunis. I've spoken to so many people and they told me the names of their version of the feteer. The way that I make it is just the Egyptian way, I guess you can say.
Right.
The stuffing it with the meats, but I also found out that that's also common in all cultures. So it's one thing that is just a different name, but it binds us all as cultures.
That's awesome. So how does it feel to be able to introduce a piece of your culture to people for the first time?
It feels amazing. I feel like since I was born and raised here in America, I didn't have much of my culture growing up. It was really just the Islamic culture here. But recently I started to visit Egypt more and I felt like a need to show the Egyptian pride in me.
Right.
I see a lot of cultures being represented and Egyptian culture is very underrepresented right now.
Right. And what's the best way to do it than with food and especially something delicious and special?
Exactly.
Right?
When everybody is happy about it.
Yep. Take us back to the moment that you said, okay, I'm going to start making feteer. What sparked that?
One day I tried it for my family and I'm like, I really miss having feteer. The Egyptian feteer that I had back in Egypt, it doesn't compare to anything that I found here. And I was like, I can always find a better recipe.
He wants to be a part of it. Okay.
And that's what sparked it. I was like, I really miss the feteer and I really want to try this. And I tried it on my family, my biggest advocates and my guinea pigs.
Right.
And they really loved it. And I couldn't believe that it was very simple to make. It takes a little bit of time, but it's very, very easy to make. And it's something that is missing around here, especially in New Jersey.
Right. And so feteer is something you also grew up eating and enjoying as a child.
Yes, that was my favorite. That was the reason why I was like, where is the feteer places? And why is it an hour and a half for me to just get a little piece of feteer?
Right. So talking about your background, right? You and your husband are both civil engineers, mashallah. That's what an accomplishment. Yes. So how do you, as an engineer, a wife, a baker, and mom, how do you balance everything?
Since I had my kids, I had to stay home for a little bit. And that's when I started to, discover myself in the kitchen. And I'm like, I really like cooking. It's very therapeutic. I love when things come out the right way. But in terms of balancing the business with the kids and, that's a big time management kind of sacrifice. I have to find the balance. Sometimes I'm working late into the night. Sometimes I have to, ask for babysitting in order to get some things done. But it really takes a community, and I'm really blessed with my family and my in-laws for helping me to continue into this path.
That's amazing. Having that family support, there's nothing like it.
Yes.
And that also gives you the confidence and out and do what you like to do.
Exactly. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things.
Right. That's amazing. That's awesome. So you said your family, they are like your guinea pigs, and you tested everything out on them. So who is your toughest critic?
I would say my sister. She loves everything that I like, but she also tells me, okay, it's a little dry. It could work a little bit. But I love that about her because that's how you get better. I don't want somebody to tell me it's great, and then really in their mind it's like, oh my God, what is this disgusting thing? So I really love that about her, and she really helped me. She grew up a little bit in Egypt, like she has some Egyptian culture, but she's the one who told me, okay, this could use a little bit of tweaking. This needs a little bit of sugar, like that.
Right. That's sweet. And you rather have your sister who will just be brutally honest with you and tell you, and you can improve, on what you're making than have like you said, like somebody else just say to your face, it's nice, but not, But that's good. So then you work on it, like you enhance it and you like perfect it. So that's good to have that support. Yeah. So what I know we're not going to share your secret ingredients, but what really goes into making feteer?
Time. But really, it's just knowing how to layer it and make sure that the layers are set in a way that when you cook it, it fluffs up and it gives you that texture of the flakiness. Wow. And, it absorbs all of either the sugar, the sweetness that you're putting on it, or the meats and the pastrami that I'm using, just to give it that extra crunchy flakiness.
So is it like a butter-based dough or ghee?
So it's really, the dough itself is just water and salt and sugar with flour. And then the layering happens with either ghee or butter. I personally use butter because ghee is very expensive.
Right.
I personally use butter for the layering.
Right. And it's quite a technique to master.
It really is. Yes. And really dependent on weather is what I found out. Because in the summer, in the summer, I was making much better dough. And in the winter, I realized there's some tweaks that I had to do in order to make it better. And you learn the hard way. Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I found out. The weather has a big factor on the dough.
That's incredible to know that even something like as dough, the weather plays a part, because for me, when I owned my cafe at Zay's Dessertery, I used to make macarons. And I remember when I made it at home, and even if I made it at my cafe, if it rained and if it was humid, I would have so many cracked macarons.
Yes.
And there were times that if it was a really bad rainy day, I would make it because it really affects the texture, everything. Like sometimes you don't realize, like people come, they eat, they'll compliment you or criticize, you can't change that. But nobody knows the behind the scenes, right? What you go through to make it, how many batches of failed like dough or like macarons, like nobody knows that. And it's important to bring awareness because that helps people appreciate you and what you're doing, and we're trying to do something good through food and make people happy. And it's important that but it's fascinating to know that something like a feteer dough also has its own mind sometimes.
Yes, exactly. And I was using the exact recipe that I was using from the summer on humid days and realized that it came out super dry. And I'm like, what's going on? And of course, I had to ask my sister what's going on. What you call my consultant.
Yeah. That's sweet. So I remember when we were talking, and it's amazing you're doing all these events, and you were telling me how the first event that you did, it was pouring, right? And you must have been full of doubt, so many obstacles, and you still powered through, right? So what was going on in your mind that day?
It was really difficult. My sister-in-law came to help set up, and she was like, where do you want everything? I'm like, I really don't know. How do we set up? I don't even know. So we put everything out as best as we thought would work out for us. And subhanAllah, I always said rain is barakah. Rain is blessings. And that's the one thought that got me through that day. Even though it was raining and everything was being soaked, there were still people gathering, buying, asking. Some people came for seconds, and I just couldn't believe it. And I felt like my intention, changing it from, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster, to rain is a blessing, I felt that's what made the day continue.
Wow.
And alhamdulillah, our first debut, and I'm like, I don't think this is going to work out. I think I'm just going to try this out.
Just try this out, exactly.
I'm gonna give them a try and see if they like it, if they don't. And that's when I realized, no, I think I need to continue. People do like it. They loved it, actually. And they're like, you changed my mind on feteer. Some Egyptians were like, I never liked feteer, but you changed my mind. Oh my God, you made it the best.
Then that gives you so much hope and encourages you, right?
It does.
That's awesome to know.
It does.
So was that like, would you say that was a moment where you said, yes, I'm going to continue and it's something bigger than I thought? Like you just came to just test it out. Let's see how it goes. So was that a moment like having the rain, having people come to you for seconds?
Yes, exactly. It was the decision maker. And that's when I was like, okay, I really need to invest in this. And I took it from the ground up and I invested in all the equipment.
Right.
And the setup in equipment, and you don't realize how expensive that stuff is until you add it all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what made me continue.
That's awesome. So what is the biggest mistake or your funniest fail you had while learning to perfect the feteer?
Biggest fail.
Or like a funniest fail?
I think in the process of learning how to make the dough.
Yeah.
At one time, like I made it so bad and I'm like, what happened here? I'm like, do I need water? Do I need flour? Right. At that point, I was like, you know what? I think it's safer to just throw it out.
Right.
And start over. One time, I remember in the Bayonne festival, subhanAllah, there was a water main break.
At the festival?
At the festival.
Oh my God.
As soon as we arrived, we walked in and we had to unload from like 3 blocks away because they wouldn't allow us to come in with our cars. And that was a crazy day on its own. A lot of people were unable to come in because of the water main break, and they actually had to shut us down. And the health department told everybody we had to vacate because of the water main break. It was like we're making feteer on the table, and the sewage water was just coming slowly. And we're like, I think it's time to leave. So that was one of the biggest failed days, but it was also a blessing in its ways.
And you learn from it, and then it's like that was meant to happen that day anyway. But then what's amazing about it, that you still pull through, and you are like, it was like a thank you next moment. All right, what's the next festival? Right?
Exactly. We actually packed up and went to another festival that my sister was hosting.
That's awesome. Okay.
Another sister of mine in Flanders, New Jersey. And it was from Bayonne to Flanders was a good hour. And she was like, would you come? I was like, yes, I have everything ready. I'm coming right now.
Right. Because especially it takes days to prep and plan.
It really does.
And it's hard when something like this happens, and that's beyond anyone's control, right?
Yes.
But that's amazing. Yeah. So for listeners who have never seen what feteer looks like, how would you describe it in one mouth-watering sentence?
Flaky. That's what is the best flaky dessert pastry that you can taste.
Wow. And I love pastries. More than for me, personally, more than puddings and custard stuff, I love anything pastry, like pies, tarts, pastries, like puff pastry, and so... Yeah,
it's very close to puff pastry if you make it into more of a drier texture.
Right.
But feteer is supposed to be like a layered, flaky from the outside and very soft from the inside.
Right.
And the layers is it's full of butter, it's full of ghee. And then the best, most authentic way to eat it, I love it with molasses and tahini. And that is the best combination.
That sounds so good.
Yes, it really is good with tahini and molasses. It's the best.
So now that you say that, are you team savory or team sweet feteer?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Are you like me? It depends on your mood.
It really does.
On your mood.
It does. Yeah, it does depend on my mood. It does.
So what are some of your savory fillings and what's some of your sweet fillings? What do you offer at your food festivals?
So the savory, I have the ground beef, which I make myself at home. And I have the bastirma, which is a cured meat as opposed to the pastrami. And a lot of people are asking me, what is bastirma? What is bastirma?
Right.
It has different flavor than the pastrami, but it's the closest relation that I can, I can give. It has like more of a pepperoni taste. And the other filling that I have is sujuk. It's the Egyptian sausage spices.
Right.
With Egyptian spices.
Yeah.
And the sweet flavors, I have just the honey, like plain with powdered sugar, served with a side of honey. That's the authentic way to have it for Egyptians. But then I had to add my American mix into it. And the most bestseller that I have is the Dubai chocolate.
Oh my God.
The Dubai chocolate.
You had me at Dubai chocolate. I am obsessed to a point that my husband, he rolls his eyes, like, don't tell me Dubai. I don't know what it is. I think I like the crunch of the kanafa. I like the pistachio cream. And, I wish I got to try, because the first time I ever tried feteer in my life was yours at the food festival in Staten Island. And I remember it was so good. It was so delicious. And your husband you were busy in the back. You were like making all the feteers. And then I was asking him, I said, what do you recommend for some? Because I've never tried it before. He said, go. And I was in the mood for something savory. So he was like, try the pastrami. And it was really good. The paste, it was like buttery, flaky. And if I hadn't been too full, I would have definitely tried the sweet. And
you have to come back and try the sweet.
Sure. Especially, I think I'm gonna try both the molasses and the tahini and the Dubai chocolate. Gotta try that.
Yeah, Dubai chocolate is the best seller. It is. And I have also the lotus, the cookie butter.
Right.
And I have just 2 toppings and I have a bunch of different toppings, from chocolate to strawberries to bananas to marshmallows. I added. And just whatever you feel like putting on the feteer, that's what we try to cater to the customer as best we can.
And I think that's a great way to do that, because sometimes, like, when people come, they like to customize their own, right? Can I get this instead of that? Because that's what their personal preferences are.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And I remember seeing on your stall, I saw sliced strawberries and marshmallows and Nutella and all that stuff. And that's fun because it's nice. That's the great thing about feteer, is that you have your base, right?
Yes.
And then it's so versatile. You could make it sweet, savory. You could just put cheese in it, or make like a pizza feteer. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. And I'm getting so hungry talking about this. I can almost picture it and smell it. Oh my God. So how many layers do you tend to count when you're making the feteer? Like when you're doing the layers, how many layers go into it, and what's your go-to, like your standard?
I think it's about 10 layers.
Okay.
It's I don't really count. I just have a process, and it's pretty much become like a mechanical thing now. I just start from beginning to end, and alhamdulillah, it's been working out. I guess I've done it so many times now that it's just become a process. I don't really think about it anymore.
Wow.
But
I guess you can make it in your sleep.
Yes, exactly. Now I'm like, I'd rather just make feteer than cook a whole meal.
Right. So much. I know, not that it's so much easier, but it's just like one thing, and that you're so used to it, you can just make it with your eyes closed. Then, because when it's cooking, it's like 5 different dishes, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And different ingredients.
Yeah. So what has been your most memorable event so far?
In terms of happiness or stressful?
Wow, that's good. So why don't you tell me both?
So I had a very amazing, very low stress event, which and people really loved the feteer, and I felt like I was in the right water. I was the right fish for that water.
Right.
That was the Bakabuzza event. If you ever heard of Bakabuzza, she has a store in Woodbridge Mall. She did an event back in October in, I believe it was the Marriott Hotel.
Okay.
In Saddlebrook. And it was just an amazing feeling. It was like I was around all my Egyptian people. Right. And everybody knew what feteer was, so people already had a knowledge about what feteer is. So they already tried other people, and they came and they had my feteer, and they just couldn't believe it. They were like, okay, yours is really good. And I had repeat customers that weekend come in again and again. That was an amazing feeling. And even the other vendors were like, I haven't tried feteer as good as they were speaking to my husband. I haven't had good feteer like your wife's. She has a really good dough. That's It's like
Mashallah.
the best way to start off. In terms of stressful is when you're really surprised with the amount of space that some events try to give you as a food vendor.
Yeah.
And you have to make it work. And I have a lot of stuff. It's like I
Right.
have a lot of
Yeah.
stuff in order to make the feteer work. And event literally gave us one table. And I'm used to at least 3 tables.
Yeah, because you need one to roll, then one to prep, and one to like where it's cooking, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And I had to manage with one table. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was like, I really have to change my mindset from, this is not going to work to just try to make it work.
Right.
And alhamdulillah, we made it work. But I realized that I need a minimum of 2 tables. I cannot work on one.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not like you go not knowing where you're going to be situated, right? You know you're doing an event. You prep, you plan, all that's on your end. But when you get there, that's the first time, like I know you get there early too, but that's when you get to see, okay, now I have to work with this space. I have to work with what I'm given. So that's quite a challenging thing to deal with, right?
It really is, especially when they give you a small space and you're already used to a large space in order to work. Sometimes you don't know if you need, 2 people on site or you need 5 people on site.
Wow.
And sometimes over planning, sometimes it's under planning and you're like, oh my God, I really need people. And that's when I text my sister, please come, I need you. And she did. She was the best. She's the best.
That's awesome, mashallah. So I know you were telling me your dream for the future is to open a store one day, inshallah. And if you could, when you do, what's your dream? Like how would you like people to come into your store? What would you like it to look and feel? What's the feel that you want to let people experience in your store?
I like the homey feeling when you walk into a store or restaurant and you feel cozy and you just want to bring your girlfriends and come and sit and just talk for an hour or two and just have some good food, some nice lighting and nice vibes, very elegant touch to it. I'd like to go to restaurants like that. So if ever I open my own, that would be the feeling that I would go for.
That's awesome. Because there's nothing like that homely feeling. Then that's what also makes people want to come often, and hang out with their friends, do some work, study. So that's awesome. What advice would you give for moms who are scared to take their first step towards something like this?
The one advice that I would give, which I was given, is just do it. Like the Nike, the Nike slogan. But really, our fear and our overthinking really puts us back.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the reasons why I was like, I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. And I'm like, why? Why can I not do this? And I really had no reason why I couldn't, except that fear just put me behind. And I'm like, this is where you just take the step and then figure it out. Without that first step, you won't be able to figure anything out. You're just going to always be afraid and sit back and not go anywhere in life.
I love that, Sarah. And that is so true. I don't know if it's as women or as mothers or what it is that we tend to overthink, right? Like, what if? What if it doesn't work out? What if it fails? What if no one likes it? But we don't know what the future holds, right? We can't take a chance on what ifs. Like you said, you just do it. You just do it and then we'll see how it unfolds, right?
Exactly.
That's great advice. All right, so now we're going to do a rapid fire round, okay? So I'm going to ask you quick questions and we like your answers. So sweet or savory feteer? What's the first thing that comes to you?
I'm a savory person.
Savory, okay. Most underrated filling?
Say that again, it cut off.
Most underrated filling?
Underrated. I think the lotus.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. A filling you'll never put in feteer?
Pasta sauce.
Oh, which kind?
Any jars.
Any jar. Oh, that's true. Okay, tea or coffee with feteer?
Definitely tea. You have to be Egyptian and drink feteer.
Yeah, with feteer. Yeah, sounds a good combo. Your guilty pleasure dessert?
Dubai chocolate.
The bar or like the cups and the dessert stuff?
The dessert.
Yeah.
Like the Dubai chocolate feteer.
Yeah. Oh. So one Egyptian dish everyone should try besides feteer?
You gotta have the stuffed cabbage and the
Yeah.
grape leaves.
Wow.
Those are the
Nice.
best types of food that you can have.
Wow. What's your dream celebrity that you'd like to serve your feteer to?
I don't have any. Don't know. You know what? I will serve you, Zai.
What's that?
I would serve you.
Aw, you already did, and I loved it. So that's good. Yeah.
Question.
So now let's do the rapid fire round in the mompreneur version. Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Oh, late night.
Messy kitchen or spotless kitchen?
Spotless kitchen.
One utensil you can't live without.
A ladle.
Okay. What stresses you out more, uncooked dough or long lines at events?
Uncooked dough.
I would have gone with that too, because the line can wait, but the dough gotta be right. If you had 1 extra hour in the day, how would you use it?
Talking to my kids. I feel like I don't have enough time to just have a conversation with them sometimes.
And what's the word people use most to describe feteer? Your feteer.
In Arabic or in English?
Both. Let me know.
In Arabic, they say gamid, which is like the equivalent of amazing,
Okay.
but in
Wow.
slang, of Egyptian slang.
Okay. But that's awesome. So yeah, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your culture, your talent, your skills with us. And it's amazing how your story like shows how something as simple as just flour, water, and salt and butter, and you use those simple ingredients to create something so delicious and so memorable for people that remember you at events about the feteer. So where can people follow you, follow your journey, and come taste your feteers?
Right now, I'm on Instagram. That's
Okay.
my main platform at the moment. I am also on TikTok, and I'm trying to, swerve into that lane.
Okay.
And my events, I always post on my stories. If there's an event coming up, wherever I will be that day, I
Right.
post a location. I'm taking a little break right now until January because I wanted to be a little available for the kids. And January, I have events coming up back to back,
Awesome.
inshallah.
Very nice. And then you'll have it all on your Instagram and your
Yes.
TikTok, and so people, will stay tuned.
Yes, exactly.
So
I keep them on my
awesome.
stories.
Awesome. So this brings us to the end of this episode of The Passionate Palate. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our delicious conversation about Egyptian feteer. If you have any questions for Sarah or me, please drop them in the comments, and please give her a follow at
Yes.
Fresh Feteer on Instagram and TikTok, and follow her stories, follow her journey. And at the next event that, she has, go check her out, try it. She has both savory and sweet feteers. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Spotify at The Passionate Palate, and on my social media platforms. And always remember, don't count the calories, count the delicious memories.